Okay, hello everyone. A very good afternoon to you and welcome to the forum with FIS Students and Alumni. Today we are very pleased to have with us 5 students. Dr. Tan Wei Sean is an alumni who has just completed his dental degree. We also have Christine, a current student, Haseen, an international student, Keshav, currently in SAM 3, and Karen Wong Kayan, who is currently in the biomedical program. Now, without taking up the time further, I'll get them to perhaps introduce themselves. We'll start with Dr. Tan.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Tan Wei Sean, or you can just call me Dr. Sean. I was an alumni of the IMU Foundation in Science program, and I completed my 5 years dental degree in IMU too. Currently, I'm still waiting for my posting. In the meantime, I'm working at a dental clinic, but not as a practicing dentist, but I do customer service and marketing for the time being.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tan. Christine, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine. I'm currently in my last semester of Foundation in Science, and I'm hoping to start medicine in September. You can call me Christine.
Okay. And we have Karen. Karen Wong, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Karen Wong Kayan. I'm from Biomedical Science SAM 2. I was in Foundation last year, and I'll be planning to go to University of Strathclyde in September.
Cool. And Tassin, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Tassin. I'm originally from Bangladesh, and I started in IMU as a foundation student last April, and it's very nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, Tassin. And Keshav, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Keshav and I am currently in semester 3 of IMU Foundation in Science, and I am a Jpa scholar as well, and I plan to continue my medicine degree in IMU as well.
Okay, cool. Now, Dr. Tan, you mentioned that you are still waiting for your posting. Maybe you can tell us a little bit. I think this is something a lot of people are interested in. How long is this waiting time for your dental posting actually, and how is the process like?
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Sharon. Well, actually, the waiting time for the posting actually varies from year to year. So I cannot give you a fixed time frame, but I can say it would at least take 6 months. And according to some of the seniors I've spoken to, sometimes it can take up to 1 year. But as what I've known for my immediate seniors, the 2 batches before me, it has always been 6 to 7 months. Unfortunately for me, I should be entering my service this coming July, but because of the COVID-19 outbreak, the Ministry of Health has been quite overwhelmed, and they are not in the capacity to hire new dentists yet. So we are delayed. For how long, I do not know, but it should take about 6 months to a year. And how this process is like is basically after you complete your dental degree, as a class, you will make an appointment with the Malaysian Dental Council. And then with your academic transcripts and your degree, you will register with the Malaysian Dental Council. And then once you have your registration number, you will then have to submit an application to Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Awam, in SPA for short. And you will have to fill up an online form with all the supporting documents. And that is when you will wait for your posting. You will be notified via email, or you can check their websites regularly for their notifications. And once it's your turn to be absorbed into the service, there will be a date and time set for you. This is for dentistry. I'm not too sure about what medicine and pharmacy is like, but for dentistry, we are given a date and time for us to log in, and we actually can select the state and the clinic that we want to practice at. But it's on a first come, first served basis. So you'll be competing with another 300 to 400 dentists for those job vacancies. So it really depends on how fast you are and how good your internet connection speed is.
Cool.
So that's basically what the process is like. And then usually a week later after that selection is when you begin your government service.
I see. Okay. The next question I have is for Karen. Karen, I heard that you are in the Student Ambassador program. What is it like? What are the skills you need to be as a student ambassador for IMU?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Sharon. So as a student ambassador, or short for SA, we will need to learn how to communicate with parents and students as well. And also we need our leadership skills to be top tier because we organize a lot of events. So in IMU, we almost every month we have events. So each event is led by different leader. But sometimes there's no definite leader, so we will need everyone to give ideas. And also some people might be very passive, which are from students, not from the student ambassador board. We would like to like guide them in and share their ideas as well. So it's like more for like exposure type for you.
I see. Okay, now I understand that Christine, Keshav, and Tassin have had the last few months of classes online. Maybe you would like to share with us how has your experience been learning online during the MCO period? Anyone would like to start? Maybe Keshav?
Thank you, Miss Sharon. For the classes now that have taken place online, at first it was quite new for us to adapt to it, but we found that the current system that is being employed is quite okay because our lectures are divided into synchronous and asynchronous. And what does this mean? This means that during the synchronous sessions, we'll be with our lecturers, and for the asynchronous sessions, the lecturers will upload their lectures first online for us to watch. And the advantage of this is that we can actually watch that lecture again and again until we get it. Instead of being in campus where sometimes where we listen to a lecture, we may miss some key points. So in this asynchronous system, we don't really miss any key points because we can really watch and learn and make sure we understand our topics.
And has it been the same for you, Tassin?
I agree with Keshav because just before tests, you can kind of go back to the video recordings and thus, learn more from them. So I feel like a lot of people don't prefer that system because they can literally go back to the lecture to review things that they might have missed when it was going on.
And what about you, Christine? Can you share with us your experience?
I think all things considered, considering like how sudden the MCO was, I think the online system is actually quite okay, especially right now. So I'm starting my next semester tomorrow actually. So we're gonna do what Keshav talked about just now, the synchronous and asynchronous sessions. So I think it's really good that we're able to watch the lectures in our own time, and you can replay it as many times as you want. And then afterwards, you join the Q&A session with lecturers to get your questions up. So I think it's quite okay actually.
I see. Karen, I heard that you recently got your conditional offer letter to continue your degree in the University of Strathclyde to do biomedical science.
Yes.
Can you maybe tell us a little bit, what does it require of you? What kind of results do you need to, or what kind of achievement do you need to have in order to obtain that?
All right. Okay. So for this transfer program to University of Strathclyde, it's kind of new as I'm the first one will be going there. So my minimum requirement will be is 3.0 minimum requirement. Then when you're in your degree, for me is in biomedical science, your minimum CGPA for each SEM will need to maintain at 3.0. And other than that, there's no any requirements for you to move on to your transfer program. But it does not apply to other program as well. For example, medicine, you need at least 3.5 CGPA to transfer.
Okay, my next question is for Dr. Tan. Dr. Tan, I heard or I noticed that you were actually very actively involved in co-curricular activities even during your dental studies, despite all the clinic practices that you had. How did you manage time, or how has maybe foundation in science helped you with managing?
Okay, thank you for the question, Miss Sharon. Perhaps I can start by sharing my experience in foundation in science and that how that builds that foundation for me when I went into dentistry. So I'm not going to talk about the in terms of the knowledge and stuff because I'm pretty sure whatever course the knowledge will be the same. But I think what was unique about IMU's foundation in science was how from day one they were trying to basically tailor us and basically help us adapt to the university system in IMU better. So there was a lot of emphasis on self-directed learning, and I'm pretty sure current foundation in science students can agree. Where, for
Yeah.
example, yep. So we actually encourage to actually learn how to look out for more information and go a little bit beyond what we are taught in the lectures. You know, so we have that guideline that basically helped us build that keen interest to be able to be more inquisitive and to be wanting to find out a little bit more. And that actually has helped me in dentistry. So because when you come to your degree, I'm pretty sure this is the same for all courses and not dentistry alone. You will no longer be in the school system where you're being spoon-fed information because you are in a way expected to be a proactive learner. And thanks to foundation because foundation has helped me build that character from day one. When I went into dentistry, it was actually I won't say easy, but it was easier to adapt and get used to the learning style in dentistry. And as for the extracurricular activities, yes, I was involved quite heavily. I starting out in my first semester, I was the batch representative, the class representative in my class, and then I took on the role of as the president of the IMU's oral health committee, where we were actively involved in services and also oral health awareness programs within our university and outside our university. So we have had programs where we have brought in children or old folks from homes to our dental clinic, and we have provided dental services to them. Also, aside from that, I actually took a step further and I was given the opportunity to be involved in an association called the Asia Pacific Dental Student Association. So this was on an international level, and I was appointed as the Malaysian chapter's president. So I was the president of the Asia Pacific Dental Student Association chapter in Malaysia, and I actually and my team and I we actually collaborated with all the 13 dental universities in Malaysia, and we actually bid it for the annual congress to be held in Malaysia. So we actually went to Cambodia. I represented Malaysia. And my team and I was a speaker and I bid it for it, and we actually got the privilege to hold the congress, which I led in the organization in 2018. So I was then also appointed as the country representative for Malaysia in this
Wow.
association too. And I was in there for a total of about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. Yeah. And aside from that, I also have participated in IMU Cup sports activities, such as touch rugby, frisbee, darts, and also powerlifting.
Wow.
So that's basically all my extracurricular activities.
That's a
Um,
lot.
Aside from that, I also actually participate in a lot of dental conferences, and I have been invited to a few also. I was invited to one last year by the Malaysian Prosthodontic Association, where I received the award for being the best student in prosthodontics. So basically, how I managed doing all this was, I guess what I developed in foundation in science was consistency and discipline when it came to studying. I would admit I'm actually a very lazy person, and asking me to be disciplined and consistent is very difficult. But however, I was able to develop that character. And because I also embrace the principle of self-directed learning, I always will try to find and learn new things. And it actually made my learning journey easier also because I find that it's easier for me to grasp concepts. So when it comes to learning, I guess it's no longer about working hard, but about working smart now. And I think it's because of that I was able to cope between studies and extracurricular activities at the same time.
Mm.
How I did it, I can't really tell you, but I can say that this was the
You did it.
foundation. But I did it somehow.
Yes, you did it. Okay. I think we will.
Sharon,
Yes,
I would
hi,
like to
Karen.
add something on to Dr. Sean's. So I was in foundation as well. So before I leave foundation, I already joined student ambassador, which is kind of a new thing for the school as well, because usually the student ambassador board doesn't take up foundation students. And also, he mentioned that consistency. I think that's what foundation really taught us, because in degree, you don't really have many class tests. You will have end of semester exam, which is a lot of percentage. Okay, but in foundation, they apply class tests for you to study from maybe from five chapters. They will test you like that. So this develop your consistency in studying as well. So this apply to each and every programs in IMU.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I have to agree with her because actually in degree we do have class tests, maybe for not all the programs. And I guess that's one thing that also keeps us consistently studying.
Okay. So talking about this consistency, I think foundation is slightly different from the A-level structure. And I believe Christine has done A-levels before she joined foundation. Christine, would you like to maybe tell us a little bit about your experience in both A-levels and foundation?
Sure. Thanks, Miss Sharon. So let me tell you a bit about like my journey. So I did my A level in 2016.
Mm.
So I finished my A level. I went into uni. I went to the University of Melbourne. Didn't like what I was studying, so I wanted to switch course to medicine. But the problem was I didn't take bio for my A level, which is a requirement here in Malaysia. So that's why I joined foundation. Okay, I can't say for sure whether or not A level or foundation is better, because that is dependent on your personal choice. But I can lay it out for you as a comparison so you can make your own choice. A levels is 1.5 years, whereas foundation is 1 year long. So for A levels, how you do will be based on how you do on your two major exams, the AS, which you take at the end of your first year, and the A2, which you take at the end of that 1.5 year. So if, let's say, you don't do well during these two exams, it means you're not going to do well for your A level. Okay. Whereas for foundation, our 1 year is divided into 3 semesters. So you have semester 1, 2, and 3. So you're taught some things in semester 1, and you're assessed some things in semester 1. When you move on to semester 2, you're taught new things that is based on your knowledge from the first semester, but you won't be tested on whatever you learn from the first semester. So this, in a sense, this makes foundation easier than A levels, because in A levels, when you finish the 1.5 year and you take your A2 exams, you are being assessed on everything you learn in that 1.5 years. But for foundation, you're assessed only on the content that you learn in that semester. Okay, so honestly speaking, there are some things that I've learned in A levels that I don't learn in foundation academically, and there are some things in foundation that I learned that I never learned in A levels. So the takeaway for me was, I really feel that foundation FIS prepares you better for uni, because when I went to the University of Melbourne and I started my undergrad degree after doing my A levels, I think it was a very big culture shock for me, because I wasn't used to having, lectures and tutorials, and I wasn't used to in-course assessments, because for A levels, you only have that one major exam. And to be very honest, if let's say you do all of your past year questions, but like you don't study, you just finish your past year questions, and you start maybe 3 months before your final exams, you'll still be able to do well for your A-levels. So this like, yeah, to be honest, that was what I did. I think I did, I didn't do very, very well. I got A and B. It wasn't very, very well, but then, yeah, it means that you can do well for A-levels if you just do your past year questions. But then, to be honest, you don't actually know what you're learning. You just know the answers to the questions. That's all.
Yeah, I would agree with.
Levels, right?
Yeah, and I agree with what Dr. Sean and Kayan were saying. Foundation teaches you consistency, which is very, very important when you go to undergrad. Because in foundation, I feel that the way they teach and the way they structure the program, it's very similar to how undergrad is. Even though we in foundation we still have more tutorials. When you go on to undergraduate, you will have more lectures and less tutorials. And that's from what I heard from the seniors. So in foundation, we have these things we call in-course assessments as well. So you have tests, quizzes, assignments, which will be something that's very common in when you proceed to undergrad. And if you're not used to having a weekly assignment that's weighted and being consistent throughout your semester, you can find it very hard to do well in like the beginning of your undergrad degree. So for A-levels, if we're talking about syllabus wise, the A-level and foundation syllabus, it's very similar. It's just some things that are taught in A-levels, they're not in foundation. But some things that are taught in foundation, they're not in A-levels. You will be learning like a lot more things, and academically there's more things in the A-level syllabus. But to be honest,
Yes, right.
A lot of it is like you're not going to use it afterwards. So to be honest, I feel like it's a bit of a waste if you have to learn so much things that you're not going to use afterwards.
It's more targeted in foundation, right?
Yeah.
If I could add to Christine's points there.
Done A-levels. Tassin, maybe would you like to tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, I think when Christian says that we had more syllabus, that's true. But it was more to do with like rote memorization and answering questions specifically rather than about the knowledge you learn and the things you can apply. I think Foundations does a really good job of teaching you what uni really is like compared to what A-levels is. Again, like high school, it's a lot of like rote memorization, spoon feeding, doing a lot of past papers and not really, learning the content. And I feel like because Foundations are so well spaced out in like 3 semesters, it helps people to actually learn the content and remember it enough rather than A-levels that just kind of cram it all in the last 3 months and kind of finish off without really remembering much, I would say.
Okay. Now, Tassin, I understand that you are from Bangladesh, currently residing in Bangkok.
Yes.
It's very interesting. So how or why did you choose to pursue your studies in Malaysia and particularly in IMU?
Okay. So, of course, I love Malaysia because it's very multicultural and diverse, and that's a great thing. And you miss amazing people, and you meet like amazing people like Miss Sharon here, who's very sweet. So, other than that, I think one of my main reasons to choose IME was the ties to the different universities abroad. So, in Malaysia, I could basically do half of my degree here at IMU, and then continue on to finish the rest of the degree in New Zealand or Australia or UK, wherever I want to go at that point. So, I think in general, this gives it a much more valuable learning experience as well as makes it much more cost effective in the long run, because a lot of degrees abroad is almost double the price than it would have been like a medicine degree at IMU. So yeah, I think that was my main reasoning in choosing IMU.
Okay. Keshav, the next question is for Keshav. And I think Keshav he mentioned that he is a JPA scholarship holder. Keshav, can you explain to us how this scholarship go about? What are the requirements?
Thank you, Miss Sharon. So I'll just talk based on my experience because the procedure may change from year to year. So the main thing is when you want to apply for a JPA scholarship, you have to first go to the eSila website. which is you can go in the JPA website, then you look under Tawaran and you look for e-sealer. And when you are in the website, you just need to check the year, which is based on the scholarship being offered. That means for this year, it'll be 2020, and you have a few options there. And before you actually go and apply for the scholarships, you should actually read the terms and conditions, because in there they'll actually outline everything for you, like your requirements, your application process, and it's quite detailed and it may change from year to year as well. And once you actually apply for the scholarship, that email which you use to apply will be used by JPA to send you any important information regarding the scholarship as well.
I see. Okay. And so must you continue your degree with IMU after you finish foundation, or do they tell you that you must do medicine?
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Again, JPA doesn't force us to do anything. Like from our pre-U itself, they give us a wide choice of what we can do. Like we can go into matrix, we can go into STPM, but I chose to do IMU Foundation because of the things that are being offered aside from the academic learning, which is the cross-boundary studies and the computing studies, which are teaching me more and helping me to be more able to incorporate that later when I'm going into medicine to practice. And they don't actually force us to continue in IMU because we can choose any university we want. But I'm again choosing IMU because of the environment, and again, as mentioned by the other speakers, the consistency in learning and also that discipline and being able to keep up. I like that IMU attitude, and I think it's very good at enabling us to adapt to medicine lifestyle later.
Okay, speaking of practice, I would like to direct the next question to Dr. Tan. So when you were in the dentistry program, how much hands-on practice do you actually get, Dr. Tan?
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. So in dentistry, we actually start our hands-on clinical experience from our second year onwards. And to be specific, it's our fourth semester. So in 1 year, there'll be 2 semesters, each semester lasting about 5 to 6 months. So 10 semesters in total for dentistry. So in your fourth semester, that's when you start your hands-on clinical experience. And dentistry, how the program is structured is such that they will slowly ease you into it. So for the first year, it's purely theoretical, and also your hands-on sessions will be in the simulation labs. So in your second semester onwards, you'll be working on the dummy, we call it the dummy heads. So they're actually, it's a head with a jaw inside, and then you'll be working on the teeth in those dummy heads. So that's where you develop your hands-on skills. And basically, as you progress throughout the semesters, there'll be more hands-ons, and there'll be slowly less and less theoretical lectures or tutorials. And when you enter your fourth semester is when you actually enter the dental clinic in IMU. So you are actually you start to treat real patients, and you begin with simple procedures, such as you start out with scaling, and then you move on to start to do fillings and more complex procedures like extractions, and root canals and crowns much later on. So every semester, there'll be a new thing that you'll get to do. So there'll be a new procedure that you get to do because you've learned it and you've already practiced it in the simulation labs. So in total, you're getting about, I would say, 3.5 years of clinical hands-on experience in the clinic itself, and you're actually getting 4.5 years of simulated clinical practice in the simulation labs. So I would say it's one of the reasons why I love the dental program is how hands-on the program is, and I'm a hands-on person, so I really like that a lot.
I'm going to throw in a naughty question. Do you get paid for your actual patients?
No, the money goes to IMU.
Okay.
Their patients will have to pay for
it's a
treatment.
very minimal charge, right, for patients?
Yes. The price, of course, compared to the private dental clinics, definitely they are paying at a discount. Yeah. It's much cheaper, definitely. And but no, we do not get paid for our work.
But you will be supervised, I hope, during these clinic sessions.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. And yeah, during the clinical sessions, so basically we will have around 3 to 4 lecturers per session, and each of these lecturers are actually specialists in particular fields. So based on who is in the session that day, we will schedule our patients accordingly. So if I'm doing a root canal, I will have to look for a session where there is a specialist we call an endodontist who specializes in root canal treatments. If I'm doing an extraction, I'll have to find a day where there will be an oral surgeon in the session. So we will schedule in our patients based on who our supervisors are and what their specialties are on that particular day.
Okay.
And it's very close supervision. Basically, every step you do, you would have to stop, get the lecturer to check your work, and if it's okay, then only you can move on to the next step. So I can say that there will be quality control there because the lecturers will be there closely supervising us. And if there is actually any difficulty at all, or if there's an emergency, the lecturers will always be there ready to take over and help you out.
I am aware actually that patients don't actually pay you, but they pay the consumables, as in, the materials that you are using, correct?
Yes, the consumables, and also the administration fee, the professional fees, which are actually heavily subsidized by IMU Healthcare already.
Yep. Okay. Now, speaking of supervision and support, the next topic I'm going to talk about is the mentoring system. Tassin, being so far away, how has support for you been as an international student? What kind of support do you receive?
So although sadly I still haven't been on campus yet, I'm really blown away by how helpful everyone has been. So in speaking of my mentor, he's Mr. Chua, and he's been pretty amazing to help me out during this online session and me being international and everything. So in IMU, you're basically assigned a mentor for the duration of your whole course there. So this person is basically your academic/adult rock in a way. So you meet them at least maybe twice a semester, and more than that if you need to, of course. But I text Mr. Chua like 50 times a week, and he still hasn't gotten bored of me. So thank God. So of course I'm kidding, but he has really been immensely helpful with all my questions because this online school thing was pretty new to me. So other than that, you can talk to them about your grades. So you can ask them what extracurriculars you want to do, how you could improve in a specific subject, what could help you progress onto the undergrad pathway of your choice. Maybe you want to apply for scholarships and you need to want to figure out how you can best go about doing that. So I'm really grateful that, there's a person there at IMU that I can always count on and ask for advice whenever you need to. So just in case your mentor can't solve your problem, which is very unlikely, the problem goes to your super mentors, or Dr. James is one of them. So in case he can't solve your problem, which is he will solve your problem. In case he can't, he'll bribe you with Starbucks. Yeah. So other than that, I think at the end of your foundations degree, you need a recommendation when you progress on to your undergrad pathway of choice, and your mentor can be an invaluable resource in providing that because they do get to know you over the course of a whole year and see your academic trajectory. So yeah, I think that's an amazing support system that IME offers.
Yeah, so I think what Tassin mean was that the mentors would be able to write you recommendation letters because of the rapport that they have built with you. They would be able to know, they would know you very well to be able to write you recommendation letters and things like that, right? Now, the other group of people that is very important is the class rep, the class representative, which Dr. Tan has mentioned very briefly just now that he was a batch rep. Now, I believe that Christine and Keshav are also class reps. What are you supposed to do as a class rep, or what is your responsibility as a class rep? Christine?
I think basically the class rep's job is to act like as a liaison between the students and the lecturers. So we get feedback from all of the students, and we compile all the information, we analyze it, and then we compact it and we deliver it to the lecturers so they can find a more effective way of solving our problem. I wasn't a class rep from the beginning of my foundation. I was elected class rep at the start of MCO because of some technical issue. So I've been a class rep for I think 2 months. It's been very, very interesting to be a class rep, especially during MCO. My batch had very bad luck. We were 2 weeks away from our semester break when MCO started. So our exams dragged on quite a while. But I have to say that what Dr. James and all of the lecturers have been doing for us as a class rep, it's really interesting and it's really, really nice to see what actually goes on behind the scenes and how much thought actually goes into every decision. So yeah, and you learn how to manage people too.
Leadership skill as well, right?
Yeah, and you learn how to manage people.
People managing skills and your
Yeah.
leadership skills. Is that right, Keshav?
Yes, Miss Sharon, but unfortunately, I'm not a class rep, but I actually do observe what they're actually doing. And what they're actually doing is basically collecting feedback from us regarding all of our tests, all our assignments, and making sure that they are not too difficult or too taxing for us. So what they do is they send these feedback forms for us to fill up. So what I do is I'll try to really give constructive feedback to try and improve the implementation of the exams, because one of the issues which we faced earlier was when we do our online practicals, when we had to submit our work in the same time we had to do it. So a lot of people found that it was difficult because we need to convert the document into another format. So what happened was we put this in our feedback, and our class reps actually relayed this information to Dr. James, and he actually did solve this issue, and it is now better. And speaking on that, I would like to highlight that IMU really focuses on student feedback very much, because we all have a lot of feedback sessions on a lot of new activities. This is to make sure that what we are doing is okay, manageable, and it's also checking to see where can we improve in our implementation of these activities.
Okay, just a message to our participants. If you have any questions for any of our speakers today, you can feel free to put your questions into the chat box and we will address the question. Karen, the next question is for you. Why did you choose to do biomedical science? Where did that interest stem from?
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. So before I choose biomedical science, I was thinking of medicine as well because I really like clinical. But my interest in doing lab works is more than I like clinical. So many people will say I'm a very sociable person, but why do I choose to work in a lab? So many people might assume that working in a lab, you will just do your experiments, do the tests. But for me, no, all my friends in biomedical science, they are very outgoing. We join in many, many events, and to be honest, our cohort is the noisiest cohort in our batch, which is 119 in health sciences. So it doesn't mean that you need to be very passive to be in biomedical science. So for me, I like lab work, so I choose biomedical science.
Okay, that's very interesting. Again, to the participants, if you have any questions at all to the speakers, please do feel free to ask. Is there any areas which I may not have covered or the speakers may not have covered that you would want to know? Do feel free to put your questions into the chat box and we will address it. Maybe coming back to Tassin. Tassin, I'm aware that you are also a class rep. And I'm sure it is slightly more different for you to manage your batch virtually when you have not met them at all, correct? So how do you manage it what has been the challenges, or what kind of support did you get in your role as a class rep?
Okay, so I won't say it hasn't been hard. It's pretty hard to get to know people when you haven't really seen their faces, or they won't turn on video chat unless you beg them, basically. But it hasn't been all that bad because we found ways to connect online. So, for example, Instagram, we all follow each other on Instagram. We do like, there's this game called Jackbox. You can play it online with like more than 8 people. So we do it in teams so that, we get to know each other. We ask trivia questions from one another. We've done like mini bonding sessions with our team. So I think in general, my cohort has gotten to know each other as best as they can, even though it's been pretty hard not seeing each other's faces. But yeah.
Okay, I am aware that some of our participants here today have actually signed up for the coming intake FS 220, and I know that Christine is part of the orientation committee for the July intake. Do you want to give us a sneak preview into what you have in store for them?
Okay, since Ms. Sharon asked so nicely. So we just finished, I just finished briefing the committee yesterday. So what we are going to do that's a bit different from past orientations is we will be assigning student mentors to all 220 students from my batch 319. So each of you will be getting a student mentor, which we are going to call, they're going to be your guardian angels. Yeah. So they will contact you the week before orientation and you will get to know them, but they will not tell you their names. And during orientation week, you will have to guess which one of them, like on the screen. We're going to do like a Teams meeting. We'll explain like later on the specifics. You have to guess like which one of them you've been talking to like for the whole week.
Secret Santa, is it?
Yeah, kind of like Secret Santa, but like guardian angels.
Oh,
Officially, officially they're like orientation officers, but then like we thought like the name was a bit scary and we wanted to like make it nicer for 220. So we're gonna call them like your angels, your guardian angels.
wow.
Okay. So other than that, we'll be doing a TikTok challenge to replace the performances that we had for like a conventional
This is to
orientation.
social distancing, yeah?
Yeah. So you can do it. Everybody can do it like in their own homes. You don't have to go anywhere. You just record like a TikTok. It's not individual. It's like it's a group thing. So everybody will have to do the TikTok challenge, and we will play everybody's TikTok during like the last day of orientation, and there will be votes.
Okay. Don't let on more.
Can I let them know?
Yeah. Cannot tell more secrets.
Yeah. If you want to know, you must join first.
For those of you who is listening in, even orientation now has social distancing and measures, and we are improvising newer methods to engage with the new students. So hang in there, don't worry. Looks like we don't have any questions on the chat group yet. Maybe I can direct my next question to Dr. Tan. What is your journey after this? So how long will you be serving with the ministry, and what are your long-term plans?
Thank you very much, Ms. Sharon. So after this, basically the next step, every dentist will have to go through this, is our mandatory government service. Just like the medical doctors have their housemanship and government service, we have it too. It's going to be for a year. It used to be 3 years, but now they have reduced it to 1 year. And after this 1 year of service, actually my intentions are actually to go into private practice. And I do wish to start out by working with a dental group, because personally I am a person who likes working in teams, and it's just something I've been very comfortable with. I enjoy working with people, and I feel that in dentistry, working in teams can be ever more important, because I'm in a dental group, basically I will have colleagues with different levels of experience and different expertise, and whenever there's a difficulty or a challenge, there will always be someone there to work with me. Or if there's a complex case, two different specialties can come together to solve that problem. So the ultimate dream, I would say, would be to set up my own dental practice, which is also a group practice, because that I believe in group practices. And yeah, so until that happens, then I hope I'll be able to achieve that one day. So for now, I'll just have to go through my government service first and see where that takes me.
And I would be interested to know, Karen, what are your plans after you complete in Strathclyde? Are you coming back?
I think I will stay there for a few years first because I will like to apply for their permanent resident there, PR. And because my sister is there as well, she's applying for PR. And I would like to pursue for my master degree there as well, but I probably in a different university because with the biomedical science, because biomedical science is a very broad field. You can do veterinarian, marine science, microbiology. That's what I want to do. And yeah, that's what I will do for after I graduate.
Okay, we wish you all the best, Karen.
Thank you.
Also, we have a question on the chat. I think maybe you can help us out. Jay asked if JPA still covers the accommodation fee during the foundation program.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Sharon. Actually, for the accommodation fee, JPA does cover it, but you have to stay under IMU's accommodation. So how you can go about this is you can go to the IMU website and you can go under the accommodations part and you'll see that there's a form there to apply for the IMU hostel. And you can go and apply for the standard one because JPA covers the standard hostel. And if you have any questions regarding the application process for JPA scholars, you can always go and message or call student services in IMU. And they are very helpful in directing you on how to go about the applications process, what kinds of rooms you can apply for, and what's the payment like for JPA scholars.
I see. Okay, but again, that may change this year. I think it differs from year to year, correct?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, it really depends. Okay. Is there any other questions that anyone would like to ask? Let me see. Yeah. I maybe want to dwell a little bit on, I think during the MCO period, Tassin, Keshav, and Christine has experienced online exams. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you were tested online. Anyone?
I think let Keshav go first.
Okay,
Yeah,
Keshav.
thank you, Christine. So I'll start off by highlighting the open book exams that we've been having. For recently, our biology 3 test, our in-course test was an open book exam where we had to answer our questions on the IMU eLearn portal within a certain period of time, and we could refer to our lecture notes. But the interesting thing about our test is even though it's face-to-face or if it's online, they always focus more on the understanding of concepts rather than memorizing. That means that you really need to understand and you really need to think how you can apply what you have learned in the test. And I think that's what makes this test very interesting. And that's what I find very interesting with the test. And also we have our online practicals as well, where our lecturers will share videos related to the practical so that even though we can't do the experiment, we can still visualize the actual procedure and how the experiment works. And we can also answer questions during the practical session so that we are almost like in the session and doing the practical itself.
Okay. And Christine and Tassin, how have you been able to access your notes online?
I think lecture note wise and all the study material wise, we've always had to access it online. So there's not much change in that. Exam wise,
For you, right? There's
yes.
a tool for you to access your notes, right?
Yeah. It's very easy to use. You don't have to worry so much about it.
Yeah, for me, it was okay. So for me, it was pretty new doing the whole IMU eLearn portal because I never went to a platform like that before. But it was remarkably easy because before we even started at IMU, we got briefings and a lot of emails and a lot of guidebooks on how to exactly access portals. And that made it pretty easy for all of us. And I think the tests, we were pretty worried at how exams would go about since it's not face-to-face. We were worried about, whether people would cheat or anything like that, or run us against the rules. But honestly, having an online has been pretty straightforward, has been pretty easy. And so far, I've had no complaints from anyone with how the exams have been structured.
Okay, now I know that in the third semester of the Foundation in Science program, there's this community service project, which I believe Karen and Dr. Tan has experienced, the cross-boundary studies. Now, Keshav experienced cross-boundary studies slightly different because of the MCO. Keshav, would you like to maybe elaborate a little bit on your experience doing community service now with the MCO?
Yes, Miss Sharon. Basically, what we did is instead of community service, we had to conduct an online campaign using any social media platform like Facebook or Instagram on any social issue that has been affecting Malaysia or the world. So what we chose is mental health, and we really emphasized a lot on how we can improve our mental health, what are the common mental health disorders, and also like helping people to be able to identify individuals with mental health through the small signs. And if you actually want to check us out, you can actually go to itsok_campaign and you can check out our Instagram page as well, if you want to know more about what we have done.
Right. Now, I have a very interesting question for those of you. I think Karen also has classes online right now, right? Do you think that there has been a disadvantage in your learning online versus face-to-face? Were you at a disadvantage in this
Thank you,
period?
Ms. Sharon. For disadvantage, I would say half and half, because for most of us, we prefer face-to-face because we can ask the lecturer directly. But the lecturers have been very, very active in Teams or through email as well. We ask them questions that will reply us in within the few minutes or within an hour like that. So if you have any doubt, you can directly WhatsApp or email the lecturers. Even though they are very busy, they will still answer your questions.
Okay. All right. All right. So still on online learning, how do you discipline yourself? This is asking on behalf of our future students. How do you discipline yourself when you learn online without your teachers, breathing down your neck? How do you discipline yourself? Keshav or Christine or Tassin?
So in that case, we've had a lot of tutorials. So those are basically sample questions that you have to answer before you go to the next class. So we usually have tutorials for each subject every week. So that keeps you pretty on top of things that you have to study because you have to complete them before you have to go to the next class. And I think when you start at foundations, you'll realize that hardly a day goes by when you can't study. You have to kind of even study for like an hour every day. And, you get used to that. And it's just something you have to get used to as you go on to your degree pathway, I guess. So yeah, I would say motivate yourself first.
And Christine, I think compared to the first 2 semesters where you had to attend physically, come to university daily at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, now you have to wake up at a certain hour on your own to attend class online. How do you discipline yourself?
You make it a point to never snooze your alarm, because I find that in previous semesters, like when we actually had to go to school, you can't like snooze your alarm past like a certain point, otherwise you'll be really late. If you're like doing online classes, if like my class starts at like 8, I can get up at like 7:55 and I'll still make it for the class. But you have to make it a point, like always never allow yourself to snooze your alarm, and you have to get up when it rings.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel that's a start.
All right. Maybe we will start from the oldest in this group. Dr. Tan, do you have any last message for your for the students who are listening in today?
Perhaps I can just add on a little bit more to what I've said earlier. Um, in regards to the learning experience for dentistry specifically, aside from the clinical experience and all that, on the theoretical side, we are actually, sorry, theoretical and practical side, we are actually also exposed to medical training and knowledge. So from year one to actually, I would say up to year four, there will always be, we'll be learning alongside the medical student. Year one to year two is where we are actively and very involved in learning alongside the medical students. So don't join, if you want to be a dentist, don't join dentistry thinking that I'm going to be a dentist, I'm not going to do medicine. No, you're still a doctor at the end of the day. We are still doctors. So medicine actually is a very big, it has a very major role in dentistry also, because a lot of things you see in the mouth, relates to the overall health of the body. So sometimes by looking at in the mouth, you can tell what other problems the patient may have in terms of general health. So you need to have that mindset if you intend to do dentistry. And yeah, I would say personally, foundation was I joined foundation in science with the intention of doing dentistry in IMU. And I would just say that it was probably the best decision ever, because foundation was I would say, the stepping stone that led me into my dental degree. And then now into my career now. So foundation, I would say, foundation in science in IMU will have a very special place in my heart, because it was how I started my entire journey in IMU. And my entire journey in IMU, I've met amazing lecturers from foundation. Miss Sharon was there since day one.
Yes,
And she was also my patient at one point in dentistry also.
that's right.
So yeah, she's always been there supporting me. And the dental faculty, the lecturers, there's so many lecturers I can name. They are amazing lecturers, Professor Xiao, and so many lecturers, Dr. Shekhar, Dr. Abhishek. But then that's if you're doing dentistry, then you get to meet these guys. But I would say overall, IMU has been an amazing journey for me. And looking back at it now, foundation was the right choice, and dentistry was the right choice for me. And I would never regret anything.
Yep. Thank you for trusting us. You were our very first
Guinea pig.
batch. Yeah, our guinea pig back in 2014, I think. Yeah. Any message you have for our students, our future students, Christine and Karen and Tasi? Anyone?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I will share first. So, for foundation, you met many people, like what Dr. Tan say. I've met a group of lifelong friends, I would say, because we are still very close, even though we have moved on to our degree, and we are in all different degrees. And if you're going into foundation and moving on to degree in IMU, foundation really helps you in your basic, even though degree will teach you again, but not in detail. So keep your notes and your written notes or their lecture notes, don't throw it away. You will need to use it when you're in degree. Even though you're in any degree, you will use it.
Okay. And anything you would like to say, Christine?
To be honest, I feel I'm very happy with making the decision to do foundation in science at IMU. And I feel whatever path you choose to take, make sure you work hard and be consistent, and you can never go wrong with that.
And Keshav?
For now, I think IMU Foundation in Science has really widened my view and knowledge in healthcare, because IMU really, everyone inside IMU is going to be involved in the healthcare field. You have the medicine, you have dentistry, you have pharmaceutical chemistry, pharmacy. So basically your friends can be your future colleagues or people you can refer to in the field of healthcare. And you can actually explore a lot of the degree programs in the foundation year, because we have this thing called look-see feel sessions, where we can actually talk to the undergraduate lecturers and know more about the programs and what are the programs about. And if you want to even know more about these programs, you can even message our mentors, and our mentors can go through Dr. James and get the information that we want about the programs. So I would say enjoy your time in foundation and really learn as much as possible. And if it's good or bad, just take it positively and grow. Because IME Foundation has been both for me, and I think looking back at 1 year, I found myself happy to have gone through IME Foundation.
Thank you, Keshav. And Tassin?
I would just like to say, if you're scared, don't be. We're all friendly. We don't be. And I'm sure you'll enjoy foundations more than you think you will right now, because I've been pretty amazed by how much I'm liking it since April. Yeah.
Okay, I just received news about Dr. Tan, which was kept a huge secret from a lot of us. Now, a lot of people, when they heard of foundation in IMU, they weren't very sure of the quality, or whether, weren't very sure whether foundation in science would be good enough to do the dental program. And we just received news that Dr. Tan actually graduated or completed the dental degree with distinction. And in fact, he has got the second highest results in his entire batch. Congratulations, Dr. Tan. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your results?
Thank you very much, Miss Sharon.
Share some
Um,
tips.
Basically, all I can say is that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which pre-university. I mean, doesn't mean that you do A levels, you're better. You do South Australian matriculation, you're better. I did foundation, and I don't want to brag a little more, but throughout my foundation year, I scored 4 flat for all 3 semesters. So my GPA was 4.0 all the way, and dentistry was indeed a very, I wouldn't say it was a difficult and challenging journey, but it was a very fulfilling one. And I'm actually very blessed and happy that with all the support and guidance given by the amazing faculty here at IMU, the faculty in foundation, which helped me, achieve my 4.0, and the faculty in dentistry, which helped me graduate with a bachelor's degree, bachelor's in dental surgery with distinction. So I think at the end of the day, it's just a lot of perhaps self-motivation, and always surrounding yourself with people who can guide you, and to be an active learner. Because I guess what I found myself doing in foundation and also in dentistry was I would actively approach my lecturers and seek guidance. And I guess, I know we all have mentors, but you don't have to have one mentor. All your lecturers there are ready to be your mentors for you. And I would also like to thank Miss Sharon, because I would say she was the first person I met in IMU in Foundation in Science, and now I'm here today. So thank you very much, Miss Sharon, also.
So Dr. Tan has just raised the bar very high for Christine, Karen, Tassin, and Keshav. You know where to aim, yeah? All right. Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we are ending today's session. If you still do have any more questions for us, please feel free to drop by the IMU Virtual Info Day, which is still happening right now until 4 o'clock. You can visit the IMU website for details. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Stay safe and take
Thank you
care.
very much.